Hi guys, this is Alex from Not Casuals, and today we're going to be playing Satisfactory, and we're going to give you guys our best 10 tips. Now, quickly before we get into the tips, I strongly recommend you guys to get this game. It is an amazing game. I've had a lot of fun already, even though I'm still rather new to it. I've been playing with some friends, and it's just really amazing if you like this type of sandbox, like automation type of game. It's really great. Alright, so for this first tip, it's regarding your base location. Try to pick something that's optimal. What we did in our case was try to place ourselves as close as to multiple mines as possible so that we could harvest copper over here. Then we can harvest iron over here with these two. Just down over here, down this path, there's a limestone node that we can harvest. And even further ahead over there, there's two more iron nodes. And right over there that we haven't touched yet is another limestone node if we ever need it. So that's really useful. We also know that there's water. It's kind of far a bit, but it's still usable. Where is it? It's over here a bit far. And there's also a coal node in that direction. Pretty, not too far, but not close either. Now, the second tip is pretty straightforward. You need to really gather leaves and wood whenever you see them. You can just roam around and there will be plenty on the ground or by the edge of mountains and stuff like that. Gather these up all the time, especially in the early game, because you will need, like, your electricity source is going to be biomass burners. So you will need to burn biofuel basically. In our case, we transform the leaves into the biomass, and then we turn this biomass into solid biofuel, which lasts longer and stuff like that. So you're going to need a ton of this, mainly because you're going to have a lot of automation ideally, and to run your automation, well, you're going to need electricity, and to run electricity, well, you need fuel. So later on, there will be alternative ways to get electricity, but it's going to take a while, so be prepared and harvest these materials. For the third tip, my recommendation is to try to structure and organize your base as much as possible. It's going to get chaotic one way or another, but having it structured in a logical way is going to make a huge difference, and it's going to make the whole thing much more enjoyable. So for example, in our case, we decided to regroup all the biomass burners together. So all our electricity generators basically are regrouped in the same exact place. So if we need to fuel them, it's really easy to do so. We just grab whatever fuel we need and we just fill them up. So obviously it's gonna make a lot of electricity poles around the place, but it's necessary if you really don't want to have to look around for which biofuel deactivated, run out of fuel, and then it's just gonna save you a lot of trouble. The next thing is regarding your mines. You really want to try and make as much as possible straight lines with your production lines. It's gonna get obviously chaotic because you're gonna use splitters and stuff like this, and it's gonna make things kind of hard to organize. But in our case, like, we have the copper over here operation, and then we have very far over there the iron operation, then the limestone going back up here in our base, and over here we have more iron, which we decided to avoid clustering this area too much for now, so we went around this little rock thing pillar. Oh, there's something up there, and never noticed. And so just try to make lines out of your productions as much as possible, and keeping it organized as much as possible. Now for this fourth tip, it's really about analyzing your production lines and seeing if you have any bottlenecks. Imagine if right now, like, I'm using a miner MK1, which is the default miner after the portable ones, and this is a conveyor level 2. And imagine if there wasn't a splitter here, splitting in 3 ways. Like this, if I would go directly into the smelter, this would be heavily bottlenecked. The smelter couldn't, there's no way this smelter could do enough to fuel all of this at the speed it's coming out. So we decided to place a splitter over here and then split the production in 3 sides. Obviously you can try to do more, but we felt that 3 would be good enough early on at least. And even here we decided to add another splitter just to do another, like, 2-way, just to avoid, like, bottlenecking, because the reason why you want to avoid bottlenecks in your production is because your mine might really send a lot of stuff really rapidly, and your smelters might be decent, but then once you're going to reach your constructors, the early construction buildings are not too bad. They craft rather fast. But eventually, like, you have more constructor lineup, and you'll even have assembly lines and stuff like this. So there will be a lot of downtime, and you want to have your production line as efficient as possible. So for this fifth tip, I'm gonna recommend like a default type of setup, in my opinion, for production lines. So you have your mine, obviously, that's level 1 in my case, and eventually we're gonna bump it to level 2. So you always want to have like a splitter, splitting in at least 2 or 3 ways. After that, you need to have 3 smelters minimum, so that you can just like cover your stuff. That's how we split. After, at the end of your smelters, you really want usually to have even more splitters. After that, you really want to have as many constructors as possible. In this case, we only have 3, but once we upgrade like to a better miner, like MK2 miner and better conveyor belts, it will most likely be interesting to modify this setup a little bit and to add even more splitters, to have more constructors, and so on. So this is what I was referring to when I was talking about bottlenecks. Right now, this area is not built optimally. There's not enough splitters, and we need more to split this area more to make sure that there's more smelters that will turn into more constructors. All this production line is all bottlenecked. You go here, it's bottlenecked because basically the constructors are bottlenecking the whole thing. For this next step, we really recommend to do a biofuel automation. Basically, in our case, we have the wood storage and the leaf storage, so we can put, I guess, I'm going to put some leaf storage in there. It's going to pull it out automatically, and then it's going to go on this conveyor belt, and it's going to go into this over here, which is going to take the leaves, and they're going to transform it into this biomass fuel. And then once the biomass fuel comes out on the other side, it's going to go into this machine over here, the constructor, which is going to transform the biomass into the finished product, which is the solid biofuel in our case for now. This 7th step is regarding the electricity. Whenever you're doing your pole management, always try to make sure that when like they can only have 4 connections, so your power line need to be positioned in place like really logically, and you can always try to, like, you grab it, you just run, and you can place them really far. You're gonna have like a notification at the bottom that's gonna say like, oh, wires too short or whatever once you're too far, but I mean you can really go really far. Another point regarding the power lines is, if you are at your last connection on a line, always make a new pole with it. Always. Like this one is a 2-on-4. I could connect this with a building or whatever, like a constructor. It doesn't matter. If it was 3-on-4, this last connection should be for a new pole. This next tip is also regarding the electricity. It's very important to manage your megawatts for your production. So in this case, it's spiking a bit because there's a bottleneck, but like the capacity is 30 megawatts, and this one goes up to 28.4. The reason it goes so high is because we decided to overclock this by 50%, so it drains a lot of the electricity even more. But yeah, be very careful of your capacities. If you go over this, it's going to turn off your whole circuit, and you're gonna like basically be overloaded, and you're gonna have to, well, fix the problem first and then reactivate the lever to start up the production back up. Alright, so this next tip is a bit straightforward, but it's really useful, and it's regarding the hotkeys bar at the bottom. All you have to do to put stuff on there, you actually cannot click and drag. I was trying that myself, or trying the plus. The how you do it is basically you just select it, or like hover it rather, and you press the hotkey. That's it. It's going to add it there, it's going to bind it there, and you can just use it after that for fast uses of stuff. It's really useful. Alright, so for this next tip is actually a combat tip. Whenever you're fighting one or multiple enemies, try to always jump very often and really strafe a lot. It's going to make a big difference in your combat. And always try to counter attack and not just like run up to them and try to attack them. It's going to make a big difference in you getting hit and dodging. I'll also give you guys a quick bonus tip. Whenever you're running, you can press the C key to slide. It's really gonna help up speed up the march and stuff, and you can jump and slide. It's just like gonna give you a bit of momentum, so it's really, I mean, it's fun to do, and it's also, it makes you go faster, so do it. Alright, another really quick tip. If you ever find a compound like this that's been like destroyed, you can actually open the drop pod. In this case, it's closed. It says it needs 40 megawatts of power to open. So we're actually gonna build 2 biomass burners real quick. We're gonna put a line over here. We'll connect them both together to increase the megawatt capacity maximum. So I'm gonna put 50 fuel in there and 50 in there, and then I'm gonna connect this to this, and we're gonna open it up. See what we find. So this is a hard drive. Okay.
Data on the hard drive has been salvaged and can be repurposed to unlock an alternate recipe. Salvaging more hard drives will provide additional alternate recipes.
Cool stuff. So the MAM is actually the research station that you can unlock fairly early on in the game. And now we have this hard drive that we can, hard drive selection, scan hard drive. Ooh, that's gonna take 10 minutes. Alright, let's see what we have. So I guess it's just like a different recipe to make these things. Deuterium, yeah, we don't want that at all, that's for sure. We already have a ton of wires. Rotors, they're pretty easy to make. And we could get copper sheet in this, but that would be a different production line. I think we're going to go with the screws. All in all, I don't feel that this is a game-changing upgrade, but maybe the other hard drives will be. So before closing this video, I just want to let you guys know that we have a Discord channel if you guys want to join and come talk to us. Alright guys, thanks for watching. This was Alex from Not Casuals, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Have a good day.